Wide open spaces bring together people who share a love of the land.
There's so much beauty here and so much wildlife, you know.
Kirby is a friendly community, and it's quiet.
But that land has to be divided, and you don't choose your neighbors.
Get off my property.
He was afraid for his life.
They couldn't even go outside. Their lives were miserable.
Once you get on their bad side, they'll haunt you to the bitter end.
It was just complete tension.
I was real concerned that somebody was going to get killed.
Oregon's Josephine County. Its rugged charm and stunning natural beauty offers something for everyone.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Second to none. Hunting, fishing, snow recreation, skiing. You can do just about anything you desire.
This area offers laid-back, simple life. We're just sitting right in a little piece of heaven as far as I'm concerned.
It's exactly why Laren Estes and his wife Barbara purchased a few acres in the woods just outside the town of Kirby. They're ready to start their American dream.
Of ours. Says, Mom, you've got to come out and see what we bought.
They're gonna love it out here.
And he said it was an old mobile home on it that had burned down. And we just want to build our home here.
Laren is an Army vet and former industrial welder who can fix pretty much anything.
Laren was on full disability, but he loved to improve things.
I'm so happy to be here.
Let me show you where the pond's gonna
Okay.
He said, this is where we're going to put the koi pond.
be. We're right out here.
Terrific.
This is where we're putting a water lily pond. He went out and plowed up this big spot for a garden and their strawberry patch. He took great satisfaction in doing a job really well.
Buying the property for Laren and Barbara meant the beginning of a whole new start together.
Laren and Barbara's next-door neighbors give them a warm welcome.
This is my son, Donald, and this is my...
They are Clarice Bishop and her son, Donald Easley, a retired truck driver. Laren and Barbara's property borders theirs, and they share a common access road.
Clarice's husband had passed away, so Donald ended up moving up there to help her out.
My home is my castle. Donald helped me in an awful lot of ways after my husband passed away because there's a lot that I could not do. Donald definitely was a jack of all trades.
Donald took it upon himself to install security lights. Anything to keep his mom safe.
Donald was the best person you could possibly want. He never caused any problems with anybody.
Another neighbor, Tim, likes having him around too.
Hey!
He used to, like, let us know if anything was going on or if there was, you know, someone wandering around. Yeah, I guess we could have called him the watchdog.
I think this place is gonna work out just fine.
Laren and Donald discover they have a lot in common. Both spend time in military.
Donald was in the Army. In fact, he took 2 hitches. He was released once and he re-enlisted.
Laren went into the Army shortly after high school, and he was in there a couple of years.
You'd think these two men would be buddies for life. If only it were that easy.
Got a gun!
For now, as they bond over old Army stories, everything's fine between Donald and Laren.
They got along very well. They were neighborly, they got along. the situation, their lifestyles, the things they were doing on the property.
I just made him scratch him.
Clarice and Barbara are getting along nicely too.
But love you freedom.
Barbara made strawberry jam and she gave to all the neighbors.
Oh, that's so good of you.
We had a fairly good relationship. We were talking and trying to be social. It was peaceful and just the way I liked it.
Both families love animals. Clarice loves her cats, and Laren and Barbara have begun breeding Chihuahuas to supplement their income.
It was a labor of love, and they decided that they wanted to raise some puppies, and then everybody wanted to buy puppies from them. So they just increased, and then, like I say, Laren was on disability, so it helped them immensely.
Clarice had about 30 cats, and Laren had close to 30 Chihuahuas. They both loved the animals.
Sharing their lives seems to bring the neighbors closer. But as Laren settles in, his do-it-yourself attitude rubs some folks the wrong way.
More junk?
Laren's property was a junkyard.
This is where everything goes until the house is built.
Did you see this?
Hey, Don.
He would collect more and more junk. All the time, something else would be showing up at the property.
Donald turns the other cheek until Laren cuts down an old apple tree that apparently straddled the property line.
Clarice was very angry and upset about that.
There was nothing wrong with that apple tree.
I chopped it down. I'm sorry, Clarice.
So there wasn't too much we could say about it, but they were good apples. And he did cut that tree down for no reason.
Donald tells Laren that he had some issues with his previous neighbor that ended very badly. And he hopes this growing dispute doesn't end up as poorly as that one did.
I just had to tell you.
Donald still thinks about it. He wishes it had never happened, but strange things do happen.
As time passes, other issues emerge. Predictably, it's a matter of cats and dogs.
The Chihuahuas are barking all the time. Larry did not like cats. I had 2 cats that went outside, but they never went on his property. As far as the animals are concerned, we did not bond.
The cats were coming into the vegetable garden and using it as a bathroom. And Laren asked Donald if there was anything he could do to try to keep the cats on his property. Donald said that those were his mother's cats and they had a right to go anywhere they wanted.
Could they be triggering the security lights too? Laren and Barbara have been up all night because of the glare. Clarice does her best to make it up to them.
I gave Barbara 2 large window shades to cover up the windows.
But the shades aren't enough to keep the light out.
Donald shined it right in Laren and Barbara's bedroom window. The lights were so bright. No matter what they put up, they were just so bright.
Doc, look, I'm sorry to bother you, but Barbara and I were wondering if you could just change the angle of your lights, please.
They're there for my mother's safety. At night so she can see. They're staying.
The next thing we knew, Laren had come on my property during the night and unplugged the lights.
Laren's desperate act is enough to trigger a feud that can only end one way.
That prompted everything that ensued thereafter.
Betsie's been shot!
They were never friendly again.
Get off my property.
If he would have just turned off that light, none of this had to happen.
It doesn't sound like a lot to ask, but Donald easily won't alter the security lights, robbing Laren and Barbara Estes of sleep.
Laren and Barbara both were just desperate for some rest at night without light shining in their bedroom.
The lights are keeping us awake, Don.
Lights are staying. They're on my property.
And it was just complete tension after that.
Laren went to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission told them they could put up a 12-foot black tarp to block that light out.
That's one big, ugly hunk of plastic.
It was quite an eyesore to all the people that lived around that area because every day we'd see it.
It's the last thing Donald and Clarice want to stare at all day long.
What are you doing?
We cannot sleep.
But we gotta have the lights. Those are lights are for Mom's safety. Yeah, Mom?
You do not.
Things are getting ugly in Josephine County.
Bedroom.
Donald told Laren that the tarp was blocking his view, and he didn't like it. There was no view. They yelled at Laren and Barbara one day, well, why won't you be our friends? And Laren told Donald, we don't want to be your friends. We just want you to leave us alone.
One thing is clear. Neither of these men is going to back down without a fight. Donald installs a light that shines right over Laren's privacy fence, and then employs a new weapon.
Donald had a diesel truck. He would go start that thing up at 2:30 in the morning, sometimes just revving it up, letting it idle for an hour or so, just being hateful. It just made it a living hell for them.
Soon afterwards, Donald and Clarice discover some of their lights have been destroyed. They suspect Laren.
Laren shot a number of our lights out, and he was shooting at all of my beautiful lights that are antiques, as well as the ones that were going down the driveway that Donald had put up.
Donald is worried for his and his mother's safety. He calls the sheriff.
This happened last night?
Yeah, last night.
I'll go take a look over there and see what I can find.
Walking around on Estes property, I did see a rifle leaning up against one of the outer buildings. But no one was around at that point.
Donald said the only place it could have came from was on Laren's property, but Donald himself said they didn't hear it.
Since Donald can't prove it, the sheriff can't press charges. So, he enacts his own sweet revenge.
Donald put up about 13 security lights on his property, and they were all directed at Laren and Barbara's bedroom window all night. Again, you can't sleep when the room's lit up like that.
The feud keeps getting nastier, and when Clarice discovers two of her cats wounded, there's only one person to blame.
Betsy's been shot!
Laren had shot both of them with a pellet gun. I still have one cat home with a pellet on top of his skull.
Take me to the vet! Now!
Donald was highly upset about it because one of the cats was the cat that he hung out in his sleeping area.
Hey! Call yourself an animal lover.
Many can't begin to believe that Laren could have done this.
Laren would never deliberately shoot a cat. Laren loved animals too much. He would not do that.
Laren would never kill an animal in his life. He would shoot the gun to scare the cats away, and the cats would scatter all over.
His protests of innocence fall on deaf ears. Donald retaliates by targeting Laren's pride and joy, the chihuahuas he's breeding for sale.
Donald called animal control about all the chihuahuas, and Donald claimed that they weren't taken care of and they didn't have a license for the breeding.
I went out there, and sure enough, there were a whole lot of puppies.
Hello.
Are your paperwork in order?
And I explained to Laren that he has to have a license to run a kennel. So I turned the issue over to animal control, and they followed up on it.
Donald's still not satisfied. He alerts the media, and that night a story is broadcast about an illegal puppy mill on Laren's property.
What condition the dogs are in? The dogs are well, but I need to take them.
The man accused of running a puppy mill out of his home in Kirby wants to show everyone how much he loves his dogs.
Every one of our dogs are up to date on their vaccines. They've had vet checks, wellness checks.
They got fined for ordinance violations, and so there was a huge financial cost for them.
They weren't able to breed and sell the Chihuahuas anymore. Laren was heartbroken because Laren really did love them all.
Just because Donald's won the latest round doesn't mean the battle's over.
Laren was very unpredictable.
In fact, the war has just begun.
I'd equate it to the Hatfield McCoys.
Donald was always an aggressor.
Laren would torment anybody. He just being a bully.
Laren changed the neighborhood from a peaceful place to a place of havoc.
Donald Easley was completely obsessed with making their lives hell.
People are choosing sides in neighborhood feud in Josephine County, Oregon. Is Donald Easley making Laren Estes' life impossible? Or is it the other way around?
Laren was a troublemaker. He wanted things his way, and nobody else could have their way.
Donald and his mother, Clarice, believe Laren shot out their security lights and then injured their cats.
Take me to that!
On the other hand, Donald has crushed Laren's dream of breeding Chihuahuas. And the troubles continue.
Donald would go outside with a leaf blower, and a piece of dirt or leaf or something got into Laren's eye, and he ended up having an eye infection from that.
Because he was fed up, Laren would antagonize Donald. He would take out the hose and use it to get Donald wet to get him back.
He would forever splaying him. If Donald was out in the yard, he'd get wet.
I know one time Laren accidentally squirted Clarice.
I hollered at him, "Cut it out!" And he stopped it.
For Donald, spraying his mother is crossing the line. He wants Laren charged with assault.
They're both in the wrong. I mean, you know, what they did was clearly to antagonize the other side.
Donald told the deputy that if he would have had his gun on him, he would have shot Laren.
It didn't do any good. They got nowhere.
I think I told Clarice, you know, we could come out there and babysit. You guys just have to get along.
After Sheriff leaves, the war of words escalates.
Donald was threatening to kill Laren and forewarning them that you're going to be sorry, you don't want to be my friends, just you wait.
Donald was trying to smear Laren's name with everyone he could. He called an environmental agency. He claimed that there was a well on the property that had been filled in with trash and that they were polluting the water.
A government investigator inspects Laren's well and judges it a possible environmental health hazard.
That well had been filled in before Laren and Barbara moved there. They had to dig all the trash out of the well and dispose of it at their expense.
It means Laren has to ask his nemesis for a favor.
was a swampy part on his property, and he couldn't go through it with the tractor. So he was going to ask Donald if he could use his driveway to go in his property so he could clean up that debris.
Get off my property.
Donald told him no.
But it's the way he tells Laren that's troubling. With a gun in his hand.
Laren was frustrated, and he was hoping that was just Donald blowing off steam.
I said, don't ever turn your back on Donald. Easily he will shoot you. And he said, oh, Mom, he's like a little banny hen. He's just all talk.
As Laren cleans up his well, he makes a surprising discovery. It appears someone's removed a property marker from the far reaches of his backyard. Suspecting it was Donald, he hires a surveyor.
Laren had the survey done to find out exactly where the property line was so that there wouldn't be issues between them.
The surveyor shares an intriguing story with Laren.
You know, I've been here before.
Really?
A few years ago, I did the same exact survey.
The work was done for the previous owner of Laren's property, Kenneth Vaughn. This is the neighbor Donald had issues with.
There were issues about the property lines between Kenneth and Donald. Donald would move the property line markings, and Kenneth and Donald were basically fighting over 3 or 4 feet of property.
The full story is a shocking one, and everyone in these parts knows it.
Kenneth was like a son. I took Kenneth everywhere he had to go because he wasn't supposed to drive. He had his problems. But when Kenneth did not take his medication, he would be out shooting his gun, his rifle at night.
One fateful evening, Kenneth was apparently kicked out of a local rehab center. True or not, Donald's been living with the tragic repercussions of what happened next ever since.
When he got home, well, he drew a gun on my son, so my son had to shoot and kill him for self-defense. It has hurt both of us real bad because Kenneth was a friend to both of us. Donald is still upset over that.
He felt really, really bad about it. But every once in a while, he would still bring it up. He goes, man, Timmy, if there was something else that I could have done, because he was my friend.
Donald did testify at grand jury, and he was the only witness to the shooting, and the grand jury found Donald to have acted in self-defense in shooting and killing Kenneth Vaughn.
Donald was cleared of any wrongdoing. Still, Laren finds it troubling that the previous owner had the same issue with Donald that he has, and ended up dead.
The fence has been there forever.
Thanks for coming by, guys.
Not a problem.
Fearing for their safety, Laren and Barbara ask around and learn there may have been more to Kenneth's feud with Donald than just property lines.
After talking to a bunch of the neighbors and everything, they were not satisfied with the story at all.
What really happened?
I believe that Donald was very jealous of Kenneth Vaughn and Clarice's relationship.
Kenneth, like I said, was like a son to me.
She was very friendly with Kenneth. Clarice even wanted Kenneth to move in with her and help her out after Clarice's husband passed away.
What are you doing here?
Donald's behavior after he was acquitted made many folks suspicious.
There is no remorse whatsoever from Donald.
So then you come over.
People got the feeling at times that he would be bragging about killing Kenneth Vaughn.
He was going to get me. I got him. What? That's where it happened. Don, it was self-defense.
The impression was he was proud of that.
Laren and Barbara now believe what many in the area consider the real story.
He says it's self-defense, but Kenny's not that kind of guy.
Kenneth owned guns of his own. There was no reason he would go over there without one of his guns if he was truly trying to threaten Donald. I believe that Donald got him over there somehow, and he intended to shoot him.
What do you want, man?
I believe that Donald then put one of his own guns in Kenneth's hands to try to cover himself.
The previous property dispute provoked Donald to murder Kenneth Vaughn. Laren wonders what troubles his own survey will stir up.
Somebody moved the property marker 4 feet that way.
The survey was done, and the evidence indicated that Donald's fencing was on their property line, and it had to be moved over a little bit.
It's on my side of the property line.
Don't touch my fence.
Laren's mother warned him he should never turn his back on Donald.
Don't ever turn your back on Donald easily. He will shoot you.
Could she be right? 4 years after Kenneth Vaughn's death, Laren isn't just scared of losing his property. He's scared of losing his life.
Donald started ranting and raving at him.
Laren did have a gun. He was unpredictable.
And it was just escalating more and more.
For exclusive footage, go to investigationdiscovery.com.
Living beside Donald became a nightmare. Their lives were miserable.
Laren was definitely being more and more unpredictable. He was always trying to get some kind of response out of you. He was not a nice guy. Laren was not a nice guy.
As accusations fly back and forth in Josephine County, Oregon, Laren Estes and Donald Easley are living in fear of each other.
Laren and Barbara would call the police several times because of their harassment from Donald. They got very concerned for their safety.
Donald called the sheriff's department. I don't know how many times. There must be at least 200 complaints. Donald was concerned as to what Laren might do because Laren did have a gun.
Over a period of time, it did escalate. And my concern was there wouldn't be another shooting.
Donald told the police officers they hoped he never has to shoot Laren because he hurt so bad on Kenneth because we were so good friends that he just didn't want to do it again.
While Donald continues to profess it was self-defense, Laren and Barbara suspect Kenneth Vaughn's death may have been murder. Desperate to feel safe, they look at new properties in the hopes of moving.
They didn't have the money to move. They still owed so much on it. They wouldn't have had money to move somewhere else. They couldn't make it work. So he just resigned to staying there.
Living in constant conflict is taking its toll on both sides. Laren and Barbara's darkest fears are confirmed when Laren receives a letter from the local Veterans Administration.
That letter was a warning because of comments Donald had made to a psychiatrist.
The correspondence cautions Laren that Donald has threatened to kill him.
Oh my God!
It advises him to contact law enforcement immediately.
Laren took the letter to the police and tried to get a restraining order against Donald.
Laren's request for a restraining order cites Donald's repeated threats to gun him down as the reason he needs to be protected.
They went into court. Laren and Barbara presented evidence of this history that they had. However, this letter from the doctor was not allowed to be admitted due to rules of evidence.
When the psychiatrist can't attend the hearing, Laren and Barbara's attempt to have a restraining order issued is denied. It's another win for Donald.
He was just talking to a doctor. Donald was just expressing his worries with what was going on. I would say the doctor did overreact, definitely.
Laren goes on the offensive, figuring that if he exposed Donald's past, he'll be afraid to strike again.
Laren made a sign with an arrow pointing to Donald's property that said murderer in big writing. And of course that sign was in reference to the fact that he had killed Kenneth Vaughn.
A decorative straw dummy now stands sentinel over Laren's accusation, and the neighbors are happy.
What do you think of my advertisement?
Every time Donald would go in and out of his driveway, that's what he would see. That was not nice. That was not nice at all. That was actually pretty bad.
Donald's reaction about the murderer sign was total fury.
And it was just escalating more and more. Law enforcement was in the wrong because they didn't take care of the problem when they knew it was there.
No one knows who will snap first. At this point, it's not even clear who's goading who.
I definitely believe that Donald goaded Laren.
No, Laren was definitely goading Donald. Donald was only like 5'4", maybe, you know, and Laren was at least 5'9", you know, a lot taller than him, and outweighed him by at least 50 pounds. He was a lot bigger than Donald.
Donald reaches out to the media, making public appeals for help.
Donald was sending letters to the Daily Courier and anyone he could, asking for help with Laren.
Donald also sent an email to Fox News talking about how he tried to be neighborly for the year, and then now he was afraid that he didn't want the situation to turn out to where he had to put down this neighbor, and those were the words he used, put down this neighbor like he did the last neighbor. As if he was a dog.
Despite the fact Donald shot his last neighbor to death, curiously, local police still don't take action. Violence is looming on the horizon, and both men are pushing the other towards it.
There was a physical altercation between Donald and Laren. Clarice got a gun. She came out, shot it in the air, and that is what broke them up.
As always, there are two sides to the story.
Donald hit Laren with the leaf blower to burn Laren's arm. So Laren picked him up and threw him back and told him to stay on his own side and just leave him alone.
Laren attacked him, grabbed him, and beat the living tar out of him.
Donald is taken to the hospital with minor injuries, and they give him the ammunition he's been waiting for.
The attorney told us to get restraining orders against them because of the assault.
I need protection for me and my mother.
Under Oregon law, there's certain rules that have to be met before you even qualify for a restraining order. Donald and Clarice were able to utilize law in their favor due to their age.
Their attorney successfully invokes the statute for the elderly, obtaining restraining orders for both Donald and Clarice against Laren. The strict parameters are extremely limiting for his and Barbara's daily life.
They had no enjoyment of their property. Not at all. They could not be within 15 feet of Donald. If Donald and Clarice were outside near the property line, Laren had to leave. He had to go in the house or he had to go on the complete other side of the property.
The tension becomes almost unbearable. Next time someone snaps, there will be blood.
I was real concerned that somebody was going to get hurt or killed.
They were a prisoner in their own home.
Donald was scared for his life. I know he was. That was a lot of drama. There was just so much drama.
It was just a constant feud. The neighbors, they just didn't know what to expect next.
The restraining orders Donald Easley and his mother have in place against Laren Estes have only amplified fear and hatred between them.
Laren and Barbara felt they had to comply with the restraining order, no matter how difficult it made their lives. And Donald would make sure that he was out there most of the time, so they couldn't even go outside.
Donald had started carrying a gun all the time, and he was going to protect himself so he would not be beaten up again.
Laren had a gun inside the trailer. He did not ever take it outside. Donald Easley, on the other hand, always carried a gun.
The threat was from both sides, and each side complained the other one was pointing weapons at him and making threats.
Everything that happens next begins with Laren's black plastic privacy fence. As Clarice remembered that day, Donald was trying to keep the wind from blowing it into their old fence and knocking it over.
Donald was on a 6-foot ladder. He was running barbed wire across the top in order to make a hole in the poly so the air would not push against the fence.
Donald believed the restraining order would keep Laren away while he worked.
We're on our property, working on our fence. Laren came out of nowhere, pulled him off of the ladder.
What are you doing? Get the wire away from my tarp, Don. Get out of my face.
My son's trying to catch himself, drew the gun, fired it down the property line. I'm sure my son didn't even see Laren, but evidently the 2 bullets hit him. I was out there 2 seconds after he fired because I heard Laren say he's hit.
I think it was self-defense. I believe Laren grabbed Donald. He got scared. He pulled his gun out. Laren got shot the way he got shot.
According to Laren's family, that's not at all what happened. They claim Laren was the one fixing the fence that day.
Donald had made another hole in the fence. It was up high, so Laren had backed the truck up to the fence and was in the back of the truck trying to tape up the hole.
Donald saw Laren's trailer hitch encroaching on his property and called the police, claiming Laren was trespassing. And then he took the law into his own hands.
I guess he saw him coming.
He's got a gun!
And Laren turned and tried to scramble out over the side of the truck, and he started running away from the fence. Barbara saw the barrel of the gun poking through the plastic.
And there were 2 shots fired, and one of them hit Laren in the back. Laren was shot in the back as he was running away.
The 2 versions of the story have the same ending.
Help! He's been shot!
Barbara calls 911, but time runs out for Laren.
It was my understanding that a bullet nicked an artery and he bled out. So.
I just had a feeling. So the minute he died, it was just like lightning hit me and I hit the floor. And I said, Laren's dead. Laren's gone. I just knew. I just knew. To think that somebody would be so shallow to shoot him in the back when he was unarmed.
At his trial, Donald pleads self-defense, confident the jury will see this as another case of him fearing for his life at the hands of an irrational neighbor.
They characterized Laren as a bully. He bullied Clarice, he bullied Donald, and Donald had no choice but to do what Donald did.
But things don't go the way they did last time. The jury convicts Donald Easley of murder.
Donald's sentence was 25 to life.
Donald told the judge when the sentence was pronounced that the jury got it all wrong, and the judge told him, the jury didn't believe you, and I don't believe you either.
And it was the same gun he used to kill him with Fawn. They can let him get away with the second time. You don't kill two neighbors on the same property and claim self-defense. It just, you can't do that.
I think the community felt a sigh of relief that this had finally come to fruition, and hopefully people learn from that you can't take the law into your own hands. You can't just kill your neighbors because you don't like what they do.
Donald destroyed 2 families that day when he pulled the trigger. Donald destroyed his mother. She lost a son for all intent and purposes.
He's 65 years old, 25 to life. No way. But he won't come out.
I never wanted the death penalty for Donald Easley. I wanted him, since he's alive in prison, I wanted him to have every day to think about what he did. I've never seen such evil in a person's eyes as I've seen in his eyes.
Those who loved Laren are left with the worst pain of all.
It's just hard to know that Laren's not with us. Not in the flesh.
Just such an emptiness, such a big hole in my heart. It'll never be filled. Nothing will ever bring my son back. I miss him with all my heart.